9 people entered the Ural Mountains in 1959. What came out defied explanation. Their tent was found slashed open from the inside, their bodies scattered across a frozen wasteland, some missing tongues, others missing eyes. Radiation readings spiked on their clothing, and after 65 years of investigation, we still have no idea what forced them to run barefoot into a blizzard that would kill them within minutes. Tonight, we descend into the Dyatlov Pass incident, where the evidence doesn't just fail to solve the mystery, it makes it impossibly darker. This isn't just another hiking tragedy. This is something far more sinister, because everything about this case violates what we know about human survival instincts. Everything about it whispers that something was hunting them that night. January 23rd, 1959. 10 university students board a train bound for the Ural Mountains, laughing, joking, completely unaware they're traveling toward their own graves. Their leader, Igor Dyatlov, 23 years old, an engineering student with years of mountaineering experience. The kind of person who checks weather reports twice and packs extra food. These weren't amateur hikers stumbling into danger. They were the Soviet Union's best. Young, trained, methodical. They had survival skills that could keep them alive in conditions that would kill most people in hours. One member turns back early due to illness. He will be the only survivor, and he'll spend the rest of his life wondering what saved him. The remaining 9 press deeper into the wilderness, following a route toward Otorten Mountain. Their plan: establish a base camp, summit the peak, return home as heroes. But something was already watching them. Their final photographs tell a story of increasing unease. Early photos show the group smiling, building snowmen, setting up camp. But in the last frames, something changes. The smiles fade, their eyes dart toward the tree line. One photo shows only darkness, blurred as if the camera was dropped mid-shot. The final entry in Dyatlov's journal, January 31st. We are now preparing for our ascent. The weather has turned, strange lights spotted to the north. Those were the last words any of them would ever write. February 26th. Search teams find their campsite and immediately know something is catastrophically wrong. The tent stands partially buried in snow, but it's not collapsed from weather. Deep, deliberate cuts slice through the heavy canvas, made from inside by people desperately trying to escape something outside. But escape what? The area around the tent shows no signs of an attack, no footprints, no blood, no indication of any threat at all, just the frantic slash marks of people so terrified they destroyed their only shelter in sub-zero conditions. Inside the tent, boots, coats, food, cameras, everything they needed to survive. Left behind as if survival gear had suddenly become meaningless compared to whatever was outside. Then the searchers follow the footprints leading away into the darkness. The first 2 bodies appear near a cedar tree, a mile from the tent. They're wearing almost nothing, just underwear in temperatures that could freeze exposed skin in minutes. Their hands are shredded and bloody from climbing the tree, apparently trying to see something back toward their camp, or hide from something that was hunting them. 3 more bodies lie in the snow between the tree and the tent, frozen in crawling positions, as if they'd tried to return for help but collapsed one by one, defeated by the cold. But these 5 deaths, while tragic, could be explained by panic and hypothermia. The final 4 bodies are where this case enters the realm of nightmare. 3 months later, after the snow melts, searchers discover the remaining 4 bodies in a ravine 75 meters from the cedar tree. These aren't just frozen corpses, they're destroyed. Lyudmila Dubinina, missing her tongue, eyes and part of her lips. Massive chest trauma, ribs crushed with the force of a car accident, yet no external wounds. Alexander Zolotaryov, also missing his eyes. Skull fracture, multiple broken ribs. Nikolai Thibault Brignol, fatal skull damage that would have killed him instantly. The force required to inflict these injuries, equivalent to being struck by a car traveling at highway speed. But there are no external wounds, no signs of beating or attack. More disturbing, traces of radioactive contamination on some of their clothing, levels high enough to be detected by 1959 equipment. The avalanche theory. Some say a rare type of avalanche, a katabatic wind event, could explain the tent damage and the panic. But avalanche experts examine the slope, and declare it impossible. The grade is too shallow, the snow conditions all wrong. Military testing? Was this area being used for secret Soviet weapons testing? Parachute mines, chemical weapons, radiation experiments? Witnesses reported strange orange lights in the sky that night, but military records remain classified. The Yeti theory. Local Mansi people warned the hikers about the area, calling it the Mountain of the Dead. They spoke of creatures in the forest, things that walked upright but weren't human. Footprints found near the bodies were larger than any of the hikers. Paradoxical undressing. In extreme hypothermia, victims sometimes remove their clothing, feeling paradoxically hot as they freeze. But this doesn't explain the tent slashing, the missing soft tissues, or the radiation. Infrasound. Some scientists suggest that wind patterns in the mountains created infrasound, frequencies below human hearing that can trigger panic, paranoia, and irrational behavior. But this theory requires perfect storm conditions that happen maybe once in a century. Here's what's truly terrifying. None of these theories explain everything. Each one answers some questions while raising others that are somehow even more disturbing. For decades, Soviet authorities classified the case, sealing files and forbidding discussion. When pressed for an official explanation, they wrote, "Death by compelling natural force." What kind of natural force removes someone's eyes and tongue while leaving the rest of the soft tissue intact? What kind of natural force creates radiation signatures on clothing? What kind of natural force makes 9 experienced hikers abandon their shelter and run to certain death in a blizzard? In 2019, Russian authorities reopened the case, promising a definitive answer. Their conclusion: avalanche. But this explanation ignores the radiation, the missing soft tissues, the precise nature of the injuries, and the fact that avalanche experts had already ruled out an avalanche decades earlier. It feels less like a solution and more like another cover-up. What happened on Dead Mountain that night remains hidden in the darkness of 1959. 9 people saw something, experienced something so terrifying that they chose certain death over staying in their tent. They ran into a blizzard wearing nothing but underwear, because whatever was outside was worse than freezing to death. And then something followed them into that blizzard. Something that could crush bones without leaving external wounds. Something that could selectively remove soft tissue. Something that left traces of radiation behind like a calling card. 65 years later, we are no closer to the truth. Was it a military experiment gone wrong? A natural phenomenon science can't yet explain? Or something else entirely? Something that defies our understanding of what's possible in this world? The Dyatlov Pass incident stands as proof that some mysteries don't want to be solved. Some secrets are meant to stay buried in the snow. But late at night, when the wind howls outside your window, you might find yourself wondering, what could be so terrifying that 9 people would choose to die rather than face it? What do you think stalked them through that frozen wilderness? Share your theories in the comments below, if you dare. And if you want to explore more mysteries that will keep you awake at night, subscribe and join us as we venture into the darkest corners of the unexplained. Because some stories are too disturbing to ignore and too terrifying to fully understand.